and welcome back to my channel. Now Formula 2 is regarded as the pinnacle of the feeder series. It is the place that you will go and if you succeed should go up to Formula 1 the next year. But it doesn't always work like that. And since 2005 we have had so many champions, whether going up to Formula 1 and becoming a Formula 1 world champion, whether completely going off the grid, whether going and doing another racing series. We have had such a diverse group of Formula 2 champions. Therefore, I thought that for today's video, from 2005 to 2020, I'm not going to go back to like Formula 3000 or whatever because we would be here all day. I'm going to take all of the champions and I'm going to put them in a tier list of how well they have done after their Formula 2 championship year. So basically rating their careers after their championship. So yeah, as I said, I've got a tier list here. I will show that on the screen in a minute. And yeah, let's just do a little tier list on the F2 champs. So before I get into the video, if you do enjoy it, please give it a big thumbs up and do not forget to subscribe to my channel down below. But let's just get started. Okay, so here is my tier list. The tiers I've got is goated it. Basically, you've done all you needed to do after your Formula 2 championship. Like, you've actually nailed it. I have got great career. Like, you've had a good time after you've done a good job. I've got meh. Like, it's been okay. It could have been better, but it's been fine. I've got stinker of the time. Like, you've literally had a stinker. You haven't really done anything. And I've got who. As in, who are you? I don't know you. So, let's just get started. First, I'm going to start with 2005. The first year of the GP2 championship. And we've got none other than Nico Rosberg. Now Nico, obviously very good driver. He done what he needed to do, went up to Formula 1, had a long Formula 1 career, and won his championship in 2016. I mean, he did retire 5 days after, but we won't worry about that. He could have gone on for a little bit longer. I reckon he might have even been able to have got another championship. But honestly, I would say he has goated it because he's came in and he has won his championship, and that's all you really need to do. Not the fact that he hasn't won 5 of them, or 7 of them like Lewis. He's came in and got the World Championship after his Formula 2 title, and that's what you need to do. So next, 2006, and this is Lewis Hamilton. I mean, I don't need to talk about this one really. He has completely goated it after his Formula 2 Championship. He has came into Formula 1, lovely time with McLaren, nearly won 2007, then won 2008, had a bit of a lull, but was still up there, and then obviously went to Mercedes 2013, and then from 14 onwards, who else other than Lewis Hamilton, obviously other than Nico in the middle, has really dominated? It's just been Lewis, and it will continue to be Lewis. So yeah, Lewis Hamilton ghosted it. Now next for 2007 is Timo Glock. Now we all know the famous, is that Glock? Is that Glock? It is Glock. But Timo Glock has had a very successful career, and I think a lot of people don't know him for this. He done Formula 1 until 2013, so he actually stayed for quite a long time, and I think people don't realise that he'd done that because he was, you know, he didn't do anything amazing while he was in Formula 1. And then from then he has done DTM, and when I tell you he is like the king of DTM, I think him and Rene Rast are like the two names that you think of with current time DTM. It's amazing. So I think I'm going to put Timo Glock in great career because for me he has had a great career. Obviously for some people, if you are just a Formula 1 fan and you aren't into DTM or, you know, that type of racing, you're not really going to know what he's done afterwards. But actually from my perspective and from me watching DTM and being a DTM fan, Timo Glock is a bit of a legend. Now moving on to 2008, we have Giorgio Pantano. I think I nearly said that wrong, and honestly I didn't actually know who this was, and he had a really weird career. So in 2004 he actually done Formula 1 with Jordan, and then I think he either went down to GP3 or GP2, but anyway then he won the GP2 title in 2008, and then he just went off the grid and went on a karting, you know, ran his own karting team or something like that. So he was in Formula 1 and then he won his Formula 2 championship or GP2 championship. I don't know. It was just very weird to me. Not quite sure on his career. It might be an interesting one to actually, you know, delve deep into and research. So I might research that, maybe do a video on him one day. But in terms of his career, I think he's had a stinker of the time, to be honest with you. I mean, I could put him in who, but I think I'll put him in stinker of the time because he's just not really done anything. Like, I'm really confused by him. Like, when I was reading him, I was like, I'm so confused as to what you've done. You've won this GP2 championship and then you've just gone off the grid. I don't know what exactly happened with the circumstances, but nevertheless he is running a karting team now, and obviously we all need karting teams to get the future stars up. So he had had a stinker of the time, but I hope he's happy now. Now moving to 2009, we have none other than Nico Hulkenberg. We all know Nico Hulkenberg. What a driver, what a, I guess, a sad Formula 1 career. It was in Formula 1 for absolutely ages. Obviously he's had time with Force India, he had time with Renault, he had time with everyone, but it never quite made it into something massive. It was kind of like I'm here but I'm not quite here. He has had so many opportunities to get a podium and he has never quite got there, and I don't know what to say about him because I think he's had a good career and he is still deemed as a driver, which is very good, and he has a lot of respect on his name. But in terms of what he actually could have achieved and where he could have gone, Oh, I think it's a meh. I'm going to put him in meh because, as I said, if he would have got all the podiums that he's missed, he could have had a great career, but he didn't. He was one of those that kind of got away. But you never know. Nico keeps returning again. We never know what could happen this year. He may just return on the grid again and go and bash out an amazing quali and then end up getting a podium. We just don't know about this man. He's always there. Now 2010 is none other than Pastor Maldonado. Oh, honestly, this man. We all know Pastor Maldonado. I don't know what to do with him because he has won a race. He has won a Formula 1 race. But he has won one Formula 1 race. So I really don't know what to do because the overriding factor on Pastor Maldonado is he is a absolute weapon and not in a good way. He is just a machine of destroying other people's races and destroying his own race. I don't know where to put him because it's a bit mean of me if I put him in the same level as Nico Hulkenberg, but he has won a race and Nico hasn't had a podium. So I think I'm going to put Pastor Maldonado in meh. I don't actually know what the man's doing now. Should I have a little Google? Let's see what he's doing right now. Let's look on his Wikipedia. I don't know what he's doing now. Is he doing advising? Let's have a look. Pastor Maldonado. Let's see what he's doing. Oh, so he's doing sports car championships and he was done the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2019. I don't know if he'd done anything in 2020. So, I mean, in terms of after Formula 2, it's a meh. It is a meh. But he has won a race, so I do feel a little bit bad. But actually, overall in the career, his time in Formula 1 was not spent the best. So for 2011 we have Romain Grosjean. Now we all know Romain Grosjean, he only left Formula 1 last year and I think he's had a good career, you know, it's not been anything amazing but it's not been anything bad. He has performed well, again he has had that time, well I mean his whole career maybe back in like the early 2010s and then also 2018 especially was a year that he liked to crash into people and he liked to cause a little bit of a scene. He has been one of those drivers but overall he's not been a bad career. When he wants to perform, not when he wants to perform, but he has these spurts of like good performance. But if you were to look at his career overall after winning this GP2 championship, I mean it's been long in Formula 1, he's had a very long career, but I still think it's meh because I don't think he's done anything spectacular and he hasn't got himself into a top team like he probably could have done because of the mess ups he'd done when he was younger. I feel like that kind of painted on his name and that's kind of how it stayed. 2012 is the one and only Davide Valsecchi. I think most people know Davide nowadays from being more of a commentator. He done F2 with Alex Jakes and F3 with Alex Jakes back in 2019 I think. From 2020 I think he was doing more with Sky Italia, so we haven't seen him on the UK broadcast anymore, which is very sad because I love him and I miss him a lot. But in terms of his actual racing career, he never actually made it to Formula 1. He done some Lotus tests and he done these in 2013, but he actually never done any more single seaters. He done some GT racing after 2013 to 2016 and then actually stopped his racing career in 2016 and became a pundit. So actually looking at his career, it wasn't very good and I feel so bad for saying this because I love Davide, okay, but I'm going to put him in stinker of a time just because he was the GP2 champion in 2012 and he hasn't yet again gone up to Formula 1. Again, I don't know the circumstances, and then he kind of had a little snippet of it in the Lotus, but then he went to GT, and when you go to GT you don't come out of GT, sorry, but you don't. But nevertheless, he's doing a great time being a pundit, and if this was a pundit list he would be right at the top because I think he's amazing. I love when he shouts over Alex Jakes and just screams at the TV, it's amazing. But in terms of his career, stinker. Now moving on to 2013, this is a name that probably people won't know and it's Fabio Lima, and I didn't actually know him before and he actually isn't that long ago, like 2013 isn't that long ago. I didn't know anything about him. Now, he never actually made his step up to Formula 1. He done a lot of other things after his title in 2013. He went to WEC and had a bad time. He then went to Formula E and had a bad time. The only step he had into Formula 1 was being Marissa's test driver in 2015. But other than that, he's done nothing. And I feel so bad, but I am going to put him in who because I didn't know him before. Even reading up on him, I didn't know him after. I don't really know anything about him other than I did see him in a couple of Formula E races that I've watched, but I don't know anything about him. I didn't know he won this championship, which is a shame. It shouldn't be like this because I'm sure he was a very good driver, but it's worse than a stinker of a time. It is going in who. Now moving on to 2014, we have none other than Jolyon Palmer. We know Jolyon Palmer, okay, wasn't the best career, was it? He did go up into Formula 1. Did he have a good time? I don't know. I don't know if Jolyon had a good time. He had a stint in the Renault. He was getting in people's way. He wasn't the best driver. I don't know. He did make it into Formula 1 though. This is the thing. So this is why I'm not sure what to do about him. I'm probably going to put Jolyon in meh because he made it to Formula 1, and I think this is the biggest thing with this, because so many of these drivers don't make it to Formula 1, that actually him making it to Formula 1 is an achievement in itself, and he did stay for a couple of years. Whether he had a good time when he was actually there is another thing. But now Jolyon has stopped racing, as far as I'm aware, and he's been doing more of the presenting and commentating and things like that. He does some stuff like analytic stuff with Formula 1 on their YouTube channel, which I love. I actually love hearing Jolyon and his insights and things like that, because he's a racing driver at the end of the day. He has got these insights, and it's great to hear. So I'm going to put him in meh. I don't really have much else to say. Next, Stoffel Vandoorne. Now, this is such a difficult one because Stoffel had such a dominant junior time in terms of like Formula 3 and Formula 2 and everything else he'd done. He was so dominant. But when he stepped up into Formula 1 with McLaren, it just didn't work. His stint in 16 and 17 just wasn't it with McLaren. It just was not it. And I don't believe that that's anything to do with Stoffel. I think the car wasn't very good, and obviously having Fernando Alonso as your teammate isn't good. But actually, since then, he has stepped up to Mercedes in Formula E, and he has done a really good job. And I think he's had a great career. So it's really difficult for me to know where to put him, because his career isn't exactly over, whereas the ones we've done before, they're kind of coming to the end of their career, obviously, other than Lewis, but he is at the top. So I don't know what to... I don't want to put him in meh, and I know it sounds really bad, but I actually might put Stoffel in a great career, because I think he's got a great one ahead of him. Being with Mercedes and actually going into Formula E, he could easily become a Formula E champion. So I'm going to put him in a great career, which I know is a bit controversial, but I'm putting a lot of faith in Stoffel Vandoorne. 2016 is none other than Pierre Gasly. Now, you know I really love Pierre Gasly, and I'm not going to be biased here. I'm actually going to look at this. And obviously, he went up to Toro Rosso in 2017. He had a great time, completely out-dominated Brendan Hartley, and then continued to do that in 2018 as well. 2019, we know he stepped up to Red Bull and done half a year, and that was the worst time of his life. But since then, he has had such a good time in the back end of 2019 with Toro Rosso and 2020 with AlphaTauri. So I'm going to put him in a great career, because he's done what he needed to do. Again, he's came up from GP2 and came into Formula 1, which is exactly what you need to do. He had like half a year where he wasn't doing it, but eventually he did come up into Formula 1. And he's got such a long career ahead of him, I can tell. I don't think this is the end. So I'm going to put great career. I really am. Now next, we're moving into the Formula 2 era. So this is when GP2 turned into Formula 2, and we have got none other than Charles Leclerc. Now, Charles Leclerc had such a good junior stint, and he was with Prema, and he had such a good time. Won this championship in 2017, and then made his way up to Sauber in 2018, then Ferrari in 2019. He's had a good time. Obviously, the car hasn't been great last year, so it's difficult to say, oh, you know, he's done such an amazing job, and he's going to be like the next world champion, because we just don't know what the car's going to do. But I'm going to put him in great career so far. I can't put him in GOATed, because I can't really see that I can put him on the... Oh, can I? I don't know if I can put him on... No, I am, because I can't put him in the same level as Timo Glock. I'm going to put him in GOATed, because at the end of the day, he has gone from Formula 2 champion into a Ferrari car. So I can't put him in a great career. I will put him in GOATed, because he's done what he needs to do. He's in a Ferrari. He'll be in that Ferrari for a long time, and he's done what he needed to do, really. It's not his fault that the Ferrari car isn't there. If he was in the Mercedes Junior programme, he'd be in the Mercedes, and he'd probably be winning championships. So... GOATed it. Now 2018, George Russell. We're nearly at the end, by the way. 2018 is George Russell, and amazing. I mean, he's done what he needs to do. Obviously, it's difficult because he is in the Williams, and when you're looking at it without knowing all the knowledge, you're like, well, he's at the back of the grid for 3 years. But no. He has, again, dominated the Junior Series, dominated F2 in 2018, and stepped up. And he will be in that Mercedes seat next year for 2022. That is without a shadow of a doubt. And then he'll probably become a world champion in the next couple of years. So I'm going to put him in GOATed it, because I can see his future plans, if that makes sense. Like, I can see what he's going to do next. And I know that he's going to be in a top car. If his career had ended now, it probably would have been a bit different, and I could have put it in meh or great career, but we know what he's got, and we know what he's going to do in the future, so that's why I put him there. 2019, Nick de Vries. This is probably one of the saddest I'm going to have to do. 2019 was kind of a dull year for like rookies coming up into F2. Like, normally a rookie comes up into F2 and then they win it, but Nick was actually someone who had been in there for a couple of years, and I actually done a video on why Nick de Vries should be in Formula 1. If you do want to check that video out, I will leave it up here, or it's in the description box somewhere, or you can find it on my channel. It is in the playlist of should be in F1 videos. I do a series on my channel. But anyway, Nick de Vries, he didn't make it to Formula 1 because he didn't have any back in. The year he won his title, at the start of the year, McLaren actually dropped him from their programme, and then he won the championship. So I don't know where to put him, because obviously he's won this title, and now he's with Mercedes at Formula E, and he's been doing okay, but again, Stoffel has been doing better. So I'm probably going to put him in meh, just because at the moment it's a meh career, because he didn't get that step up to Formula 1, and then, you know, he ended up being at Mercedes and not quite shining. Again, he has only had 1 year, so I'm 100% sure this year in Formula E he is going to come through, and he's going to do what he needs to do. But I don't know yet, and I'm going to put him in meh, and that's really sad, because if you know me, you know how much I love Nick de Vries, but I'm going to put him in meh. And the final one is our current and reigning Formula 2 champion, and that is Mick Schumacher. Mick, this is so early for me to say. Okay, this is why this is quite difficult. But so far, I'm going to put him in great career, because if you look at his junior categories, he has had such a great career, and I just think he has been amazing. He's done everything he needs to do. Whoa, I'm moving my laptop way too much. He has done everything he's needed to do in the junior categories. He's won Formula 3, he's won Formula 2, he's probably won things before that. I know he's won karting championships before. And we know he will be in that Ferrari in 2 years' time. After Carlos Sainz's career is over at Ferrari, once he's had his 2 years, Mick will step up next to Charles Leclerc. And this is going to be perfect for him. This is going to be amazing. He's going to have his 2 years to build up in Haas, and then he's going to make his way to Ferrari. So he will easily, like, if I review this in, like, I don't know how many years' time, I could easily put him in GOATed it, but for now, I'm going to put him in great career just because I'm not entirely sure what he could do, and he's not quite at Ferrari. Like, if he went up to Ferrari now, I'd put him in GOATed it. But because he's just at Haas, I don't want to make a premature decision, basically. But yeah, there we go. So there is my final tier list of all the GP2 and Formula 2 champions and where I would rank them from their careers from after Formula 2. If you did enjoy this video, please give it a big thumbs up and let me know whether you agree with me or disagree, whether you put someone else somewhere else, or whether you think that, you know, some of the GOATed people shouldn't be GOATed, or whether you knew Fabio Lima or something like that. Let me know in the comment section below. Again, thanks for watching the video. I appreciate all your support, and I'll see you again soon. Goodbye.